Hey friends, you're watching Brainstorm Acres. I'm Henry. Yeah, I boogered up my leg. It's doing a little bit better. We'll see how it does over the next 48 hours, but at least I can kind of hobble around now. I'm outside with the utility truck. We have a windshield crack that happened less than 2 weeks after I paid for a brand new windshield. That happened last July. I now have some material that says it's going to help fix this crack. We'll see. I need to get some scaffolding so I can get up here, because I have to go all the way up. Hopefully the weather's going to hold. It's not looking so good, but I'm going to give it a shot. My short scaffolding is too awkward for me to move by myself. I'm going to go ahead and start. This repair relies on a polymer resin. It cures by ultraviolet light, so it's sunlight. And it needs 10 to 30 minutes to cure. Hopefully we'll get at least 30 minutes worth of sun. Now, the way this stuff works, according to the instructions, is that you run a bead of the polymer, that's the resin, along the crack. And as soon as the resin sucks into that crack and the crack disappears, you slap a specific piece of curing material onto the glass. These pieces of curing material are really short. They're only about perhaps 3.5 or 4 inches long. I'm not sure I have enough, but I'll see if we can make it work. Now, one thing I just learned is that this unit is packaged, I think it's probably coming from China. I'm positive it's from China. But we'll go ahead and get started. You start at the bottom of the crack. And you follow the crack up. They're specifying the upward motion. I suspect that's because, generally speaking, this resin is a little thin in normal weather. All I'm really trying to do is get this windshield to hold together for a few more weeks. Now, I think when we drive to the next event in California, that I'm not going to have a choice but to go ahead and get this windshield replaced once again. It's not exactly disappearing, but I'm going to go ahead and slap one of these things on here anyway. It's definitely not disappeared. Now it is going into the crack a bit better in this area. Boy, this stuff smells nasty. Slap a couple more pieces of the curing material on. You know, I'm not seeing that crack disappear at all. Does this surprise me? Not particularly. Does it disappoint me? We'll see. I'm continuing to apply the resin along this crack. Yeah, it's funny because right before I came out to do this repair, I heard another ad for the same material. And what was going through my mind was, could this work? Yeah, it's conceivable that it will. Now that piece is doing a little bit better maybe. Well, it's not as fast as they suggested in their ads. It's not as easy as they suggested in their ads. Both their video ads and the written ads. So far, I'm not seeing it. We'll take a look at it tomorrow. What happens then is I'll peel this material off. I scrape it with a razor blade, of which I have several. And we'll see if any of this crack has disappeared. And the point actually is to have this entire thing not crack off from the truck. That would be bad because then we'd have a big piece of glass that's not in the windshield. Well, thanks for watching. Watch tomorrow to see how this one turns out. It's been a couple of days. There's been bad weather. It's not going to be nice weather today either, but it's time to go ahead and peel this thing off and see how it's doing. Well, the backing material just slid right off. Now let's take a look at the windshield and see if there's been any change. Scrape off the excess resin. That's all cured. Well, the crack didn't disappear. It may be strengthened a little bit, But I think I'm not going to have a choice but to go ahead and replace this windshield again this spring. I have to do that before our next trip going into California, because that brake right there is big bucks if I get stopped. Well, that's a really disappointing result. I'm not terribly surprised. I have a few things to say about this kind of resin and repairing windows. Windshields have several layers in them, and my belief is that just a simple resin fix is not going to be a, quote, legal fix. It's not going to be really, really safe. It'll just help keep things together for a little while. This particular resin came from China. I went through and pulled off the label that was coming to me, and sure enough, underneath the label was going to a drop ship location in California, where it was mailed to me through the U.S. Postal Service. This resin was a bit thicker than what they showed on their commercials and what they described in their ads. So there may be a few issues having to do with whether or not this resin was current. That is, it could be that it was an old resin. And it may also be that they have the wrong resin in there. I don't know. I just have to say that, you know, if you're going to rely on using some resin like this to fix a windshield for a permanent fix, you might get away with it, you might not. I sure didn't, but that's okay. Well, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell for a notification, because there's a lot more stuff going on here. We're in the process of getting ready to go to an event for Irene's business. My leg's doing a little bit better. Hopefully everything's going to go fine there. Oh, by the way, those two tubes that I bought at half price for $15.99 surely would not have repaired that entire crack, because there's not enough fluid in it. So be aware of what you're ordering. Be aware of what you get. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye.